if you look at BEA and the success that it's had, people like Sally Burr from the very early days as a receptionist all the way up to Alfred Schwang, who is now running the business. Every person in between those two was on a mission. And if you think about it, a lot of companies will say what they want to do is change the world in some way. And in the case of BEA, I think that has really become reality.
We do what we say we're going to do. We lived up to our commitment.
Well, when talking about the original idea from BEA, I eventually began calling it my epiphany. And my epiphany was just based on Sun's motto. If the network was going to be the computer, the network needed an operating system. I knew I needed somebody that could do big deals in marketing and somebody that could do the product, and I would do the vision and the management. So Ed Scott was a no-brainer. I'd worked with Ed for many years.
I had no idea what he was talking about.
The very fortunate thing was I found this young engineer and young director who was the vision of Sun's IT in the future of computing, and it was Alfred Schwang. And I convinced him to be my CTO. He said, Bill, I only have one question. He said, this idea is too obvious. Why hasn't somebody else thought of it? And I said, that's why I'm recruiting you. It's only obvious to you.
We knew that the world was ready for technological change.
Anytime that you are working with Alfred, it's guaranteed to be fun, very exciting, and fast.
It was a rocket ship. It was essentially hyper growth, hyper work, hyper travel.
It was the first time that I really got introduced to a true 24/7 operation, because Ed Scott was an absolute animal when it came to communications.
Nothing else we were doing was more important than a customer who was in trouble or a customer who was unhappy.
It was all about BEA and IBM. And that was very, very focusing for the company. And I think all of us learned a lot about how to compete very successfully.
I think some of the people, the younger folks that were on the team, I'm not sure they'll ever be part of as much change as the change that they helped drive during that 2004-2005 period.
I actually saw it as more evolutionary, where the company was going through a maturation process and growing up.
We basically went to war. And the way I talk about it, it really was hand-to-hand combat.
We were on our way to a meeting where there was a number of CIOs and CTOs waiting to hear from Bruce. And I said, just imagine 2 years ago, you couldn't get these people to show up, and now they're anxiously waiting to hear what you have to say.
You have this great merge of people, technology, purpose, and you're all able to kind of come together as a team and execute.
Everything that we do, you can assume someone's giving away for free. When you have that as your starting point, you will innovate. You'll innovate in the products you build. You have to show value. And if you can show value, people will pay you money.
I think the single greatest reason for BEA success, it's probably a combination. Outstanding products that work and do what they say they're going to do, and a focus on the customer and making sure that you make them successful.
Our inflection point was clearly the acquisition of Tuxedo. Once we acquired Tuxedo, we were able to go around the world and really do things that previously had been much more difficult to do.
What's interesting at the time is BEA had one product, Tuxedo, and it had just gotten started, just finished acquiring the Tuxedo group, and Alfred was already thinking about, we need more than just Tuxedo.
Alfred could see that if we didn't have a key role in the evolution of the web, we were going to become irrelevant.
WebLogic looks like the most brilliant acquisition of all time for a small software company. And it probably was in many respects. It made BEA.
The acquisition of WebLogic really had mixed reaction both internally and externally.
It was a pretty gutsy move. We spent a lot of money.
People will have thought we're crazy to do it. The WebLogic acquisition, these things are just wild. You know, building out Asia and going into China more than 10 years ago, when people haven't even thought about it yet.
I'm so glad we have a crazy CEO like Alfred, who is willing to invest so heavily in our region.
This place, it's all about the people.
The people.
The people.
We hired very, very good people.
The people that are here.
Again, it's all about people, right?
The company could not have got to where it was without the people that it had on its teams.
The culture in BEA over the last 9 years haven't changed much. It's all about the people.
BEA is filled with extremely talented people at all levels.
Just they're smart, they're creative, they've got a bit of an edge to them. You know, we do, we have an edge because we've always had to stay out ahead of our market and be the market leaders.
We hired people who had done it before, and we could turn loose and they would get the job done.
I would do it all over again in a heartbeat because of the folks, because of how the thing came about. It just really is terrific, and I want to thank everyone. I mean, that's just from the bottom of my heart. It's, I won't trade this for the world.
Yeah, I was CTO, and you know, there's some misconceptions about the CTO role. Some people think you travel, you talk, you go to conferences, but that's not what I did. I mostly sat at my desk, and no one ever asked me to speak. I never went to any conferences, you know, but I thought about a lot of strategies.
That wasn't as good as the first one. We did that one real good. We're going to skip that one. I think that one was good. What was Alfred's last name again? What does the A stand for? I just had to explain that to a customer yesterday.
You know, you're young or old, you know, you join BEA, first year you gain 10 pounds. So, and then we try to find out why, right?
You can't believe over the years how many people have told me that they wrote the prospectus, but one of the lawyer's key jobs in an IPO is writing the prospectus. It lived on my word processor. There's input from a lot of people. It's a very complex document, but I wrote the prospectus.